Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
We are on the extreme road to Philly as we prepare for WrestleMania 40. So we are starting this time with Raven Part 1, diving into the early career, the ECW stuff of Scott Levy, a.k.a. Raven.
His name is Scott Levy.
Scott Levy, Levy.
This
Does this add something to the
this
experience?
is so stereotypical. I feel like every person who's grunge or emo scene, whatever you want to be, just has the most freaking blue collar name you can possibly think of. Not
Patrick
blue
Stump?
collar, white collar.
Okay.
Patrick Stump. Come on, man.
The guy who's Brandon Flowers? Pete Wentz. I'm trying to think of the name of the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. It's driving me nuts.
Oh my god, that's gonna kill me too.
It's Gerard, right? Or Gerald?
Gerard Way.
Gerald Way? Whatever.
Gerard.
But no, we're talking about Raven, a unique character in the ECW landscape, a very memorable character. What do you know about Raven?
That he was the grunchy guy who did DDTs and had a posse.
When did you first see Raven?
TNA.
I feel like that's always the answer for you, and it bums me out. It consistently bums me out. I know we've talked.
I
know you weren't around for
'97.
You weren't around for ECW, and I watched ECW at way too young of an age. But Scott Levy has shown up in every promotion in North America, pretty much. In the US specifically, he has shown up there, and we're going to talk about his whole career. Before we dive into that, make sure you share the podcast episodes with your friends. We are continuing to grow. We're on the road to 250 subscribers still on YouTube. You can go hit us up there at Crossbody of Work. Tell a friend about the show as we are going. We're covering all ECW wrestlers between now and WrestleMania. And then at WrestleMania, we're going to have so much content coming out, many podcast episodes. So be ready for that. Shout out to somebody who reached out to us on Instagram, Gavin Perkins. Shout out to Gavin for listening to us. He went and watched the Crossbody corrections that we also just dropped on YouTube, where we rebooked Nexus to not be terrible. That was good. I think we both did a very good job there.
Yeah, and I think I won.
I don't think you did, but that's okay. It's okay. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But shout out to Gavin for DMing us on Instagram and saying that we're doing good stuff. So Scott Levy is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So he is living the gimmick. He's from Philly. I love that. I think that's a perfect fit. He went to the University of Delaware, earned a degree in criminal justice, which weirdly seems right.
Classic behavior.
Seems right for him.
I earned a degree in criminal justice, so I have to become a wrestler.
I'm going to become a wrestler / a criminal. He took a semester off from college to actually enlist in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve, which I find very interesting. Yeah. He trained as a professional wrestler and then went on a little bit of a journey. He was under Larry Sharp at the Monster Factory in New Jersey and then went to the WWC in Puerto Rico, which I feel like comes up all the time in these guys in the 90s. They all did a stint at World Wrestling Council. He went to the Continental Wrestling Association under the ring name Scotty the Body, where he was given the gimmick of being the, quote, boy toy of Missy Hyatt. That was his gimmick.
God.
Everybody.
So he was Missy Hyatt's meat?
He was Missy Hyatt's meat in the Continental Wrestling Association. He went to All-Star Wrestling in Vancouver, Pacific Northwest Wrestling in Portland, which is, I think, the third time in 4 episodes we've mentioned PNW. He went to Dallas's Global Wrestling Federation. And then in 92, he joined WCW and was given the name Scotty Flamingo.
Scotty Flamingo is crazy.
You got jump scared by Scotty Flamingo.
I saw that and was taken aback. I think you'd mentioned it.
Yes.
When we teased the episode last week's podcast. But my thing is that I have goldfish memory. So it was gone right away. So me booting up, I'm going to watch these matches. And then suddenly it's Brian Pillman versus Scotty Flamingo. Also, the worst part about this was not the name. It wasn't the look, not the match, not Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary. It's good old JR having to say Flamingo over and over again on
Over and over
commentary.
again. So yeah, Scotty Flamingo was a surfer from Florida. He carried a surfboard to the ring. As you can imagine, Scott Levy did not like the character or wrestling a high flying style. He also did not appreciate doing a high flying wrestling style.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is a grounded wrestler. He doesn't really go up to the top rope and anywhere else
No,
other than this match. I mean, unless he's going up to then go through a table. But I mean, who didn't do that? Big Dick Dudley probably did that.
all the
More
Dudleys
on
did
him
that.
later.
More on all of the
Uh,
Dudleys later, which is very
but
exciting.
speaking of hating, there's nothing that I hated more about this than not the name to awful. Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary, awful. Like the presentation of this and the lighting of this show, awful.
Weird.
Nothing is worse than having to see and hear good old JR having to say flamingo every like 10 seconds.
So this is Beach Blast 1992. It's for the light heavyweight championship, which is weird because we all associate WCW with having a cruiserweight championship. But it's Scotty Flamingo versus Flyin Brian Pillman. Now, this show opens with Eric Bischoff, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross in floral patterned shirts. It's a weird vibe. It also starts with Jesse Ventura lounging by the entryway with 4 women in bikinis. Kind of how I expected Jesse Ventura to hang out. That's his vibe, so that makes sense. What did you think of the actual match between Pillman and, I'm going to call him Scotty Flamingo because that's what he is.
I just have to say, I think this I think this is the worst match of the week. I
Really?
was so taken aback by this. Like, I just thought it was really slow and just kind of like not fun. Like, this is light heavyweight wrestling.
Yeah.
This is cruiserweight wrestling for
Yeah.
lack of, realistically, for being honest with ourselves. And it was just grounded and like, it's okay to have cruiserweight wrestling when it's grounded. Dean Malenko showed that, Blank showed that,
Yes.
like people like that, Bret Hart's kind of a smaller guy. He's not a cruiserweight,
Yeah.
but he's a smaller guy. He showed like, that style is pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between technical savvy and what we saw here. This was just your bog standard, like late 70s, early 80s wrestling match, but with 2 guys who are less than 6 feet tall.
Now, here's the thing that I think hampers this match, which is the fact that Flamingo it's so ridiculous to call him Flamingo, but the fact that it's hard to be a cruiserweight style wrestler and also a heel when you're not he's not a technician. They're not wanting him to be a technician, which is the way to really do heel cruiserweight work, is to ground the other high flyer. But they didn't want him to do that. So he's in this weird in between where I was watching this match going, I don't know who the babyface is supposed to be. And eventually kind of figured out, like, okay, it's definitely Pillman based on the reactions and the fact that Flamingo tries to cheat a couple times with a roll up with the tights and things like that. I was like, okay, I can kind of piece it together. But I understand what you mean in terms of it being disappointing, especially you hear like Pillman and Raven early in their career, like, oh, this is probably going to bang. And it doesn't. In terms of the offense, like, how would you describe Flamingo's offense at this point?
He's just working over Pillman's arm.
It's all arm work.
It doesn't make sense because Pillman's finisher is the flying crossbody, right? Yeah. Or whatever the hell his finisher is, which you can't even do because you can't jump off the top. I don't even know how he won matches in WCW for a while there because you can't jump off the top rope.
He would do the middle rope.
Oh, okay. Like, what's the point? What is the point? And then, like, so he's grounded, and once you've grounded flying Brian Pillman, what are we doing here?
You're not
like,
wrong.
This was. I don't think this match wasn't good because of the wrestlers. I think the match wasn't good because they were honestly kind of hampered by WCW.
I think they were pretty handcuffed.
The only tactics that Flamingo could really do that separated him from Pillman was to like eye rake.
Yeah. And to roll up using tights. Like, that was it.
Yeah. Like,
In
that's
terms of the structure of the match, it's Pillman in control for a long time. Flamingo finally gets some offense in. He gets caught up in the ropes with his feet hanging on the top rope, which was kind of an interesting little
it
spot.
was comical, and I loved it.
We get the pump fake dive by Pillman, and he actually handles Flamingo from the apron. Pillman goes on the top rope, which is a disqualification. Technically, by WCW rules, the match should have ended there, but it didn't.
No, but he didn't jump off the
He
top.
didn't jump off the top rope. Flamingo meets him there, tosses him off the top, and then gets in control of the match. And this is where he has nothing to do. He does like clotheslines, he does like a hip toss, a lot of arm work, a lot of arm ringers, and it's just weird because it's just so not the Raven that's so not Raven. You know what I mean?
This is the new spinoff. It'll be coming to Disney Plus soon.
Now, there's an important thing we have to talk about in this match, which is the fact that at one point, Scotty Flamingo gets his pants pulled down and very clearly has a thong tan line.
I thought he was wearing a literal thong.
I think it's a tan line. I think his commitment to the surfboard lifestyle was to get a thong tan.
No, because you remember how sometimes this would happen to Billy Gunn, and he would just be wearing a thong underneath.
Yeah. Well, he's the ass man.
Yeah, but also like that makes sense. Like if you're wearing those types of trunks and you're like kind of afraid of it getting pulled a little too much on you, and certain private areas being exposed, a thong just makes sense. They make jock straps and stuff like that
That's true.
Are in the vein of a thong, and that's all right. But like I thought it was a thong. But if you're saying
it might have been, but I really think it was a tan line. And I think the thing that shout out to Scotty Flamingo because he keeps a whole ass cheek out for a while.
It's like a minute and a half.
There is butt cheek out for the world. And it's weird because you're like, that's Raven. And here he is ass out 92 WCW. It just seems so wrong. Doesn't seem like the right Raven.
My favorite thing about it is like you very clearly hear the women in the crowd pop. Like there's a noticeable tone, like pitch difference
Scotty Flamingo's
in the roar of the crowd when that happens, which is like, okay.
So the finish of the match, we get a clothesline to the back of the head by Pillman. Flamingo gets dropped on. They have like the entry ramp that's right at the same level as the mat. Pillman goes for a dive. Flamingo dodges. Pillman lands shoot on his forehead.
Yeah. His hands were there, but he still landed on his forehead.
Yeah, he still kissed the pavement with his forehead. Pillman's crawling back in the ring. Flamingo with a knee off the middle rope and gets the pin and wins the light heavyweight championship. Weak finish. Pretty weak finish.
Honestly, just a weak match overall.
Now, he would hold the title until July 5th, 1992, so he'd hold it for all of about 3 weeks. Can you guess who he dropped it to?
In 1992, was it the Great Muta?
It was not the Great Muta. I love that guess. It was Brad Armstrong, son of Bullet Bob and brother of that D-O-double-G Road Dogg, Jesse James.
Never going to guess that one.
No, I didn't expect you to. I would have been really impressed if you did. So, Scotty Flamingo, Scott Levy, left WCW in February of 1993 because of disagreements with Booker Bill Watts. After leaving WCW, he wrestled briefly in the USWA and then joined WWF as Johnny Polo. We have talked about Johnny Polo and seen him before. Do you remember where we've seen Johnny Polo?
No.
When I tell you who he managed, you'll understand why we've seen him. He managed Adam Bomb. He was a manager. He did some tag work, but he mainly was a manager for Adam Bomb and the Quebecers. So in our Jacques Rougeau episode, we saw Johnny Polo. He also did some commentary work on Raw. They really had Scott Levy doing everything. Because when you think of Raven, one of the first things anyone will say is like, mind for the business.
Yeah, good promo.
Good promo, good worker, good angles. He kind of knew what to do. He was always pushing new things. And they were like, you know what? This guy knows the business so well. Put him on commentary.
Yeah. Elite hater.
No, one of the best haters, one of the precursors to this current generation of elite haters. We are in an elite hater era right now.
It is like him, Eddie Kingston. Like
current Drew is making a strong case.
Christian Cage is one of the greatest haters of all. He's 10 toes down for the last 20 years.
You
Is
know
Christian
how
Cage.
the NBA is like the best it's ever been in terms of in-ring like on court
In-ring?
action in ring. Yeah, well, for Draymond Green, it is in ring, but
Yeah,
you know how
Isaiah
like
Stewart.
the NBA is like never been better from like a product, right?
Yeah, I mean it's probably as deep, talent rich, I would say is the word, as the league has
Yes.
ever been. Yeah.
That's how I feel about wrestling haters right now. We have never been in a better situation for people who just are fucking haters all the
Yeah.
time.
We even have someone whose last name is literally Hater.
Yeah, and they're awesome.
Shout out to Jamie.
After leaving WWF, Johnny Polo / Scott Levy began developing a new character, Raven, inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. And I didn't know this, but by Patrick Swayze's manipulative Zen master of crime in the film Point Break. So this is a confluence of Point Break and Edgar Allan Poe.
Here's the thing: I've seen Point Break. And
I don't
see it.
I don't see it either. This is
I
just from
don't see it at
Wikipedia,
all.
so maybe not, but I don't see it either. It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
The Raven character, depressed, sociopathic, stoic, eloquent philosophical promos, dressed in grunge, always had his leather jacket, his comic book or rock band t-shirts. He pitched the character to a couple of places, including, and you can imagine what this person's reaction was when they heard this pitch, Jim Cornette in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
He must have blown a gasket.
I think he probably lost his mind. Jim Cornette said no, and so instead he went to Paul Heyman, booker of course, Extreme Championship Wrestling, who agreed to bring Raven in specifically as a foil to Tommy Dreamer. Raven made his first appearance January 10th, 1995 with Stevie Richards revealing that Raven had a vendetta against Tommy Dreamer. You love Stevie Richards. 30 seconds. Why do you love Stevie Richards?
I don't need 30 seconds. I'll give it to you in 5. Because he's fucking awesome.
You're not
He's
wrong.
just great. He's one of the most entertaining wrestlers, not only of the 90s, but ever. Like, the guy's range is incredible. We'll talk about this more in the Stevie Richards episode, because I am full on. That is like, there are certain episodes that we will book, I guess, for lack of a better word. Because it's just like a treat for one of us or both of us or whatever. Like, the Stevie Richards episode is probably my next treat.
Looking at the King Mabel episode, that was a treat for both of us. Raven formed Raven's Nest, which is something he does in pretty much every promotion he's in. Richards was the first member. Johnny Hotbody and Tony Stetson joined the stable next.
What a name.
Yes. On April 8th, 1995, we get ECW three-way dance. Raven fired Hotbody and Stetson and replaced them with the Pitbulls as the new members of the flock, or the Nest. Raven expounded on his history with Dreamer and revealed that they had attended summer camp together as children, where Raven became the boyfriend of Beulah McGillicuddy, an overweight girl with acne. And that's after she was spurned by the popular boy Tommy Dreamer. Richards then revealed he had tracked down McGillicuddy, who was now a penthouse model, who also harbored a grudge against Dreamer. Our next match is that match at Three-Way Dance, Raven versus Dreamer from 1995. I fucking love building in lore in wrestling. It's so good. It's why Kane is good. It's why Undertaker is good. I fucking love lore. So if you could tell me that these two hate each other from children, like, here's the thing. You and I'm sure, have one person from our childhood who we cannot stand. I'm sure we hate somebody from our childhood because, you know what? Grudges don't go away. People don't forget. So, do you not have somebody? Because I know I do.
I think I'm the person that was hated from
You're
like,
the
by
Tommy
others.
Dreamer. You're the Tommy Dreamer?
No, but here's the thing. I wasn't like the popular kid who was like giving people reasons to hate.
You weren't a bully.
Like, you know, I wasn't a bully or anything like that. I was just like, I was just out there, man. I was just doing my thing.
Vibing, man.
I was just here.
I know.
Moving.
I'm not gonna say his name because I wouldn't do that. But I moved away from one city, and I remember like 3 years later on MSN, this guy who I knew from like elementary school just went on and was like, "Hey, I fucking hate you." And I was like, "What?" Like, we were friends in elementary school. I was like, "What is going on?" He's like, "I've told everybody that you're a piece of shit. Like, don't ever come back here." Then I was like, "Where is all this coming from?" And then he blocked me, and I never heard from him again. And I think about that all the time.
You
I'm
have
like,
an enemy out there.
I have an enemy out there. And they revealed themselves to me. Yeah. But
That's
the fact
incredible.
that in a couple quick promos and there's an interaction at the beginning of this match where Beulah McGillicuddy is revealed to Raven, all the fans in ECW now fully understand a deep backstory between Raven, Beulah, and Tommy Dreamer. And it works. It's a really good story.
By the way, I just have to mention it. Beulah McGillicuddy, I must apologize. I was
You
not
were
familiar with your
unfamiliar?
game. I was unfamiliar with your game.
Beulah's gorgeous. Beulah is a gorgeous woman.
But here's the thing. I'm used to like later Beulah, where she just looks like, I don't know if she's Italian or not, but I'm just going to say she's Italian. She just looks like a normal Italian woman in like her 30s or whatever age she was.
Like a pretty woman, no doubt.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, but it's more like, she's just... it's because I live in Boston. You see like so many Italian Americans who just kind of look the same, you know? So like seeing her here, it's like, wasn't familiar with your game. Shout out to Tommy Dreamer.
The clip at Three-Way Dance starts with Stevie Richards explaining that Beulah's like this, says that he brought the girl here from their summer camp, and Raven immediately backhands Stevie Richards without question or provocation. Just, how dare you? He's like, you brought that fat, overweight piece of hell to the ECW arena. And then Beulah comes out and Styles is making jokes about her being a looker. Surprise, Beulah's hot as hell. Surprise.
Yeah. Anyways, the Dreamer comes out. They throw hands immediately. Immediately hands are thrown. They fight into the crowd within 30 seconds.
I love ECW so much. Before we talk about the match, can we also talk about Stevie Richards' outfit? Because why not? Stevie Richards with an elite outfit. Sheer white vest, no shirt. Animal print biker shorts. He is the moment.
This is exactly how I imagine John Cena is going to look in Ricky Stenicki.
Yes. This is, I mean, I haven't bought his OnlyFans content, but this is only what I can assume he looks like on there. So they're brawling.
Free? I actually want to know about this OnlyFans thing.
I don't know. I haven't clicked any of the links. I'm afraid my computer is going to like implode if I do. So I'll
sign up on the
going
podcast
through ringside.
Email, don't worry.
Perfect. Thank you. Email us things that we should cover on the podcast, crossbodyworkpod@gmail.com. Raven's whipped into the barricade. We're brawling through a door at ringside. Dreamer hits him with a garbage can. Dreamer hits Raven with a frying pan. I love that fans in ECW just bring shit from their house and be like, hit somebody with this.
If you were able to go, what's one thing in your apartment that you currently own, currently have in your apartment that you would bring to the ECW arena to hand to someone?
There is a pressure cooker in our kitchen that we don't use very often, but I think would make a great weapon. Just wallop somebody with the pressure cooker. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, if you could freaking kill them with the pressure cooker, what?
It's just like, yeah, no, I made a bomb. It's like Brick Tamlin from Anchorman. It's like, yeah, I killed a guy.
I got you. I can tell you exactly what mine would be. I have a 15-pound kettlebell.
Oh, yes. That is the weapon of choice. I also realized, like, for those of you watching on YouTube, my background's different. I'm on the road for work right now. It's very weird.
Yeah. As you could tell from the background, he's at every stereotypical hotel.
I'm at insert generic hotel name here. What a place. It's actually been a really nice day.
They all look the same.
They all look the same. So Dreamer has a cheese grater. And Raven hits a low blow. Dreamer just powers through and still uses the cheese grater on Raven's face.
That was just... he's bleeding, by the way. He starts bleeding profusely.
He's been created like mozzarella. What do you think? Of course he's bleeding.
Bro, that is like exactly... he hit him with the exact move that I want the waiter to hit me at every Italian restaurant with. Just Parmigiano.
Yeah. The keep going. The I'll say when.
Just, I got you. Just keep
just keep going. We're going to drown this whole restaurant in Parmesan. So Dreamer, there's a fan who sets up a chair. Raven runs Dreamer into it. Raven with some chair shots pushes Dreamer into the front row, into the face first into a steel pillar. Raven is dripping blood because he's been graded.
Yeah. Not the bloodiest visual of this episode, however.
No, we'll get to that.
We will talk about that soon. He hits a flying hip attack off the apron, which I
Yep.
liked. I like that.
Yeah.
Good
We
move.
climb up to the sound stage, which is where they have all of the announcers. I say all the announcers. This is where they have Joey Styles calling the action.
Yeah.
We get a world's strongest slam onto the floor and then a diving splash off of the sound stage. I was like, this is pretty good. I like it.
Stuff. Dreamer does a splash off that like concourse area to the concrete, which concerned me so much. Dreamer hits a power driver after showing off. Like they get back in the ring. Dreamer like has him up in the power driver position, like he's just had some help there.
Yeah,
and he just shows him off to all four sides of the ring before hitting the power driver.
He does a show and tell. He's like, everybody sees Raven. He's upside down. Isn't this nice? Raven's super bloody at this point.
Go for the pin.
No,
he just, and then Dreamer just bites the cuts.
He bites his face. Dreamer's fucking nuts. Raven catches him with the DDT off the ropes. Raven with another DDT. Middle rope for a drop kick. Power slam, still only a 2 count. Then some shenanigans at ringside. Stevie kisses Beulah, and she slaps him. Dreamer comes to Beulah's defense because he's a better man now, which is nice.
Okay, well, I mean, you missed out a very important part. She slaps him, and he starts choking her.
Yeah, that's true. Stevie does not take to rejection well, but he should have asked for consent. But all of this was a setup. It was all a ruse. Beulah with the hairspray to the eyes of Tommy Dreamer. Stevie with the Stevie kick. And Raven with the DDT. Raven gets his first win over Tommy Dreamer. And this is a trend through all of their ECW run. Dreamer cannot beat Raven.
I love it.
I love this match. It's insane.
This is good. This was insane. It was good.
It's not my recommendation because I think there's a match I like better, but this is fun. I would recommend you go watch it.
This was fun. Yeah, this was fun. And here's the thing. Prior to this episode, I did not know anything about the feud between Raven and Dreamer other than they had one. Like, it was a long-running blood feud. I knew that. Yeah. It's like probably the most iconic feud in ECW history. I know that. But it's like, I said probably. It's one.
No, yeah, it's one of the top 3. I think it's Raven Dreamer. I think it's Raven Sandman. And I think it's RVD Sabu. I think those are the 3. And then RVD Jerry Lynn, and then probably Awesome Tanaka are the top 5.
That's a heavy list.
It's a fucking dope top 5 is what it is.
Yeah. And so it's like, it's one of those things, like I knew of it, but I didn't actually know it, like I didn't know the origins. I haven't seen any of the matches. So it's like seeing this and the thing that kicks it off pretty much. It's pretty cool. Also, could we go back a little bit to the part where he does the power driver and then tries to eat at his cut?
Yep.
This is their first match?
Yes.
So you're telling me that just off of the strength of bringing the ex-girlfriend of Raven from summer camp here is enough for Dreamer to just be like, I'm a sadistic fuck who's going to make your life miserable.
Yeah. People don't forget.
But he wasn't the one that was screwed.
He doesn't care. If somebody hates you long enough, you're going to hate them with the same power and passion.
Here's the thing. Like, I understand the turn happens here, but Raven's justified.
Yeah.
Dreamer's the heel here. Like, what?
Everything's a little fuzzy in ECW. All right, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we have Raven and Stevie Richards in tag action. Back from the break, June 30th, 1995, ECW had a show called Mountaintop Madness, which is a great fucking name for a show. It was held in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. Love that as well. Where Raven and Richards defeated the Public Enemy to win the ECW tag titles. They defended the titles against a variety of teams like the Pitbulls, who had been replaced in the Nest by the Dudleys, and the team of Tommy Dreamer and Luna Vachon. Very interesting. Very intrigued to see that match in the future. At WrestlePalooza on August 5th, 95, there was an 8-man tag match of Raven Richards and the Dudley Brothers versus Dreamer, Cactus Jack, and the Pitbulls, where Cactus Jack turned heel and also joined Raven's Nest. Yeah, Cactus Jack was also a follower of the one true voice of the generation, Raven. Our next match is for those ECW World Tag Team titles, and it is at Gangsta's Paradise, September 16th, 1995. It's Raven and Stevie Richards defending against the Pitbulls in a 2 out of 3 falls dog collar match.
Can you imagine Paul Heyman listening to Gangsta's Paradise?
Yes, 100%. Paul Heyman has absolute sauce. Paul Heyman can listen to anything in the car.
Here's the thing. I can't imagine Paul Heyman listening to music.
I can.
You could ask me what type of music I think Paul Heyman listens to, and I'll just go podcast.
Paul Heyman could put on anything from Kenny Chesney to Doja Cat, and I'd be like, yeah, like, of course. I think that makes sense.
It's no, I have no idea. Also, shout out to Paul Heyman, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Paul Heyman, Hall of Fame. Bull Nakano, Hall of Fame. 2 great choices.
Absolute slam dunks. No
slam dunks
here.
Are we going to try to go to the Hall of Fame? When is it?
I don't know if we can. I think it's the night of our ECW reunion.
Fuck.
I think it's after SmackDown.
There's too many good things happening. All right.
I know.
What did you think of this tag match?
This is my recommendation for the week.
Really?
Yes. This was, without a doubt, one of my favorite matches we've ever covered on this podcast.
This match is absurd. So this actually makes a lot of sense.
Exactly what I want the WrestleMania main event to be.
Fair enough. So Stevie Richards to start the match is nowhere to be found. Also, if the Pitbulls don't win here, they have to split up, which is awkward because they're named Pitbull number 1 and Pitbull number 2. Could you imagine splitting up and just being Pitbull number 2?
Also, Dale. Are these two are any of them guys that we should know?
The Pitbulls?
Yeah. I mean, does one become fucking, I don't know. Obviously not, but is one Batista? I don't actually think it's Batista, but you get what I mean, right? Where they become someone. Because I mean, and I couldn't really see.
I mean, they were the Pitbulls. That was the thing that they did.
Yeah, they were later when they were. I assume they became a solo act or something. I don't know. I never heard of the Pitbulls. This is my first time ever hearing of the Pitbulls.
Oh my god,
I'm sold.
The Pitbulls are awesome. No, so it's Gary Wolf and Anthony Durante. So Gary Wolf is Pitbull number 1. Anthony Durante is Pitbull number 2. Anthony Durante has unfortunately passed away, but Gary Wolf just was on the indie scene. They didn't really go anywhere else other than ECW, but they're staples of ECW, man. People love them. They did have a cup of coffee in the WWF. In the late 80s, but then became what we know them as now in ECW.
They just feel like two guys who actually would have worked in WWE, which is kind of crazy that they didn't really pan out, because this was I mean, they're big dudes.
Yeah,
big dudes.
Durante also died in 2003. So
sucks.
Yeah,
but yeah,
really unfortunate.
Stevie's scared of the Pitbulls. He does not want anything to do with this match. Beulah says that it wouldn't be fair for them to have a handicap match because Stevie doesn't want to wrestle.
She says he has a broken arm, which he does not.
Oh, he does not.
No.
So she suggests that it should be a 2 out of 3 falls match because of that, so that it's fair.
Can you explain that logic to me?
No.
Because I
can't.
I heard commentary. They're like, "Oh, because Stevie doesn't isn't able to wrestle, Raven's going to do a 2 out of 3 falls match." I'm like, that is
this is
worse.
A dog collar match.
How are you going to dog collar with? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
A 3-way dog collar. You never heard of one.
So Pitbull 1 leaves to look for something in the locker room. It's Stevie that he's looking for. In the ring, Pitbull 2 has a chair shot to Raven. Pitbull 1 comes back with Richard's dog collar to him.
Do you think he went to the hotel?
The motel?
The Holiday Inn?
I think he did. He was Mr. Worldwide. That's why he could find him. He's like Carmen Sandiego. Pitbull has the same powers as Carmen Sandiego.
Jesus Christ. Raven's chained to Pitbull 2. Stevie's chained to Pitbull 1. Raven gets fucking cracked with a chair.
Yeah. Somewhere Sean Spears is writing down ideas. He's like, that's great. That's great. I'm
He's
gonna do
like,
that.
"Oh, I'm gonna take out Ridge
I'm,
Holland with that."
I'm gonna kill Cody with this. Pitbull 2 has a table. He sets it up. Raven pile drives him through the table and gets a pinfall. We are 2 minutes
Yeah.
into the matchup, and Raven's up 1-0.
Yep. It like goes immediately into the next fall.
Yeah.
Well, not the next fall, but into the action. Double DDT to Pitbull 1 for a near fall. Richards hits a Stevie kick for a near fall, and then the Pitbulls turn it around immediately.
Yeah.
Pitbull 2 hits a super bomb, which is just a power bomb off the top rope.
Yep.
To Richards to even it up at 1 apiece.
So we're 4 minutes into the match. The match is 17 minutes long, and it's already 1-1.
Yeah.
So we get a longer third fall, obviously.
Then
there's a lot of good stuff, including
galore.
Pitbull 1 smashes Stevie Richards with the world's smallest frying pan. What are you frying in that pan?
Eggs.
One egg.
No, multiple eggs. You get like 3. I don't know, man. You put them in a bowl. I like my eggs scrambled, to be fair.
I'm a scramble guy. Yeah.
You scramble, you throw them in there.
It just seems too small. It seems like
I
that
had
pan
one that was about that size in college, and
I think
fine.
maybe these guys, like, also the Pitbulls are like beefy boys, and so I was like,
Yeah,
that looks
boys,
small,
man.
but maybe that's a normal egg frying pan.
I don't know. Beulah's probably what, like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", that range. Put it in her hands, and then we could see what it looks like for you.
I wonder what Beulah is listed at. 5'6". Yeah.
Yeah, that's, man. I got it. I'm cooking right now.
Don't test the goat. Hey, the Dudleys are here, but it's not the ones you think.
Yeah, I was like, oh, the Dudley boys are here. I was like, oh, cool. Who are these guys?
This is Dudley and Dances with Dudley.
Dances with Dudley is the craziest name I have ever seen. By the way, it needs to be discussed. The fact that Dances with Wolves, I believe, won an Academy Award is insane to me.
It's not very good.
It won an Oscar. Like, what? I can't believe it won in 95.
Dudley and Dances with Dudleys are the two Dudleys who come out. They were part of the original Dudleys, because the original Dudleys were Big Dick, Bubba Ray, Chubby Dudley, Dances with Dudley, and Dudley Dudley.
I just love how the Dudleys keep coming.
And Sign Guy. Yeah. We also get, obviously, Spike. We get Snot. Eventually, we get Devon. It was a good time.
I like how Devon's, like, canonically probably the last one to join.
I think the last one was actually Spike, but it was Devon right before Spike. Yeah.
But that's still, because when you think of the Dudleys, you think of Bubba and Devon. So
and then next, if like the third Dudley everyone's thinking of is Spike, obviously.
Well, I'm thinking of Big Dick, because that's...
I am taking that clip out of context. I am so excited. What a great audio clip to have for the future. This is fantastic. So the Dudleys are here.
Yeah, they're here.
They're attacking with stereo super power bombs. The Pitbulls no sell the super power bombs, do double DDTs to them. Super bomb to Dudley, and one to Dances with Dudley. A super bomb to Raven is supposed to go through a table, but Raven just smacks his head off the edge of the table because it didn't go far enough.
That was tough.
I think it's my least favorite bump I've seen in a while.
I mean, Darby Allin over the weekend.
Oh, I meant just in the podcast, because what Darby Allin did over the weekend, the fact that they had to be like, hey, in case Darby can't wrestle anymore, we have a backup plan for the finish, is nuts. We shouldn't have to go there.
Oh, so the fact that he cut a promo, I believe, on Dynamite last night as a recording of this episode, saying like, hey, next week's match against Jay White, which I'm going to be there for, could be my last wrestling match, because he's going to go climb Mount Everest and could possibly die, is crazy.
Darby Allin is just a unique individual. What an interesting guy. So Raven gets a rag and ethers a Pitbull. He ethers Pitbull too, who falls onto a stack of setup tables at ringside.
Ether is crazy. Like, he could have just said chloroform.
No,
And that would
ether is
make sense because
crazy, my
chloroform
boy.
is what everyone uses to knock people out in the movies. But he goes ether. Ether can kill someone. Like,
Raven's like a step away from war crimes. He's like, yeah,
like,
this is what we need.
I know chloroform isn't legal either, but freaking ether, bro.
Obviously, he doesn't actually ether him, but could you imagine if they did get
Yes.
ether and Paul Heyman's just like looking around the locker room, like, does anyone have an ether guy? And like, sign guy Dudley puts his hand up, and he's like, I have an ether
Scotty
guy.
Dudley, half the locker room is putting their hands up. What are we talking about here?
That's true. So Pitbull 2 goes through the top table, but not the second one. So he falls on the tables. Raven does a leg drop. Pitbull 2 only goes through the first of 2 setup tables. So Raven goes back up to the apron and hits an elbow drop. So he goes through the second set of tables as well. Oh, this is a really fun match. This might be my recommendation, man. Actually.
It is
this
my
is
recommendation.
Really people get ether.
Stevie goes up to the top rope. Pitbull 1 pulls on the chain, so Stevie falls and gets crotched on the top rope.
Yep.
Raven removes his dog collar and then goes into the, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure is a DQ. Like, that's it. You lose the match if you do that. But it's ECW, so it doesn't
Things
matter.
are weird in ECW. Yeah, man.
He helps out Richards. Beulah gets into the ring. And I guess Stevie Richards has an ex-girlfriend who shows up and decides to beat up on Beulah. And Raven says, whoa.
Whoa.
We're not doing this. And so he DDTs the ex-girlfriend.
Immediately. No hesitation. Raven has some priorities.
If you thought this was going to be a Shawn Michaels super kicking Ric Flair situation where he has to think about it before he does it, nah. This was, human being, DDT.
Exactly. Tommy Dreamer's here because Pitbull 2 is getting stretchered out. Dreamer chains himself to Raven, starts firing shots in, knee drop to the nuts, DDT by Dreamer, a pinfall, 3 count. Raven's finally pinned by Dreamer. Everyone's excited. Oh, Dreamer pinned Raven. This is great. Here comes Bill Alfonso. If Vicky Guerrero didn't have her run, Bill Alfonso would still be the most annoying presence by a non-wrestler I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes. You did not watch ECW. Oh my God. He's the whistle. It's the
so
worst.
He was the whistle guy.
He's the whistle guy. Not to be confused with Flo Rida, though also the whistle guy.
Can you blow my whistle, baby? Anyways, he says no to all this. Like, the pin's not gonna count. None of this is gonna count. Tommy Dreamer, you did not actually pin Raven. Like, it's not gonna count. You're not a part of this match.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Which, to that I say, it's ECW. There's no rules.
And that's why the Extreme Commissioner, Todd Gordon, is here. He pushes Alfonso, who cracks him. There's a lot happening. Bill Alfonso says that, so there's a chokeslam to Dreamer by Dudley, which the move had been made illegal. The move had been made illegal. So Alfonso says the chokeslam is now legal. And immediately, and without hesitation, 911 shows up. You've heard of 911 before, right?
Yeah.
His whole gimmick, huge fucking dude, walks out, chokeslams people, leaves. It's the best. It's the best gimmick in the world. And he had been trying to chokeslam Bill Alfonso for months. And he finally got his opportunity and chokeslams him to hell. He holds him up there for one whole Dune 2. Like, it's unbelievable. Just the whole time, he's just holding them up there. Very similar. He's doing show and tell too. He's like, everybody sees Bill Alfonso.
He's
That's
up
great.
There, like, Lisan al Gaib, and then drops him.
Yeah, just absolutely drops him.
And then Pitbull 2's back. He hits his super power bomb, or he hits the super bomb on both Raven and Stevie at the same time. They just stack them on top of each other.
1, 2, 3. The Pitbulls don't have to break up and are ECW World Tag Team Champions. There's been some drama between Raven and Richards because at House Party in January of 96, Richards attempted to kiss Beulah, who refused, and eventually announced that she was pregnant. After Raven angrily confronted McGillicuddy, she informed him that he was not the father, causing Raven to beat the shit out of Stevie Richards. McGillicuddy then revealed it was Tommy Dreamer's kid. I know. Shock. Awe.
Her shoot husband?
Dreamer stormed the ring, beating down Raven, Richards, and the Blue Meanie, who's just catching strays in this, and embraced Beulah. Later on that month, Raven would introduce his new girlfriend, Kimono Wanalea. Later that evening, Raven defeated the Sandman to win his first ECW World Heavyweight Championship because of help from the Raven's Nest. Over the following months, he would successfully defend it against people like Shane Douglas, Pitbull number 2, Chris Jericho, Too Cold Scorpio, Terry Gordy. Wanalea left him in April, and then at Hardcore Heaven on June 22nd, 1996, Raven began playing mind games with the Sandman. That was his next big opponent. That is where our promo takes place. It's from July 21st, 1996. And it's Raven influencing Tyler, Sandman's real-life son.
He does what to Sandman's son?
Influences. That's what they say. They say Raven influences Tyler.
What, does that mean he let him on his TikTok live or something?
Yes, he's an influencer. No, it's, he's brainwashing the child.
Yeah, he says a father gives up a lifetime of chasing women, fast cars, and debauchery to bring a child into this earth.
Now, as someone who eventually wants to be a father, I have not participated in any of these things. My car goes a medium amount of speed. I did not do any hedonism. I don't get me wrong. I've wanted women. They just mostly have not wanted me until I met my wife, and I was like, hell yeah.
Let me put a ring on that.
Put a ring on this.
Also, we gotta
shout out. Raven's just in a park, by the way.
Yeah, it's nighttime.
Yeah. There's a drug deal going on, is what's happening.
This is the kind of thing that would get you banned within 500 feet of a school. Like,
he then brings up mothers, like you're saying, giving 9 months to bring a child into the earth from the womb. And then for 18 long years, they spend raising the child, nursing, schooling, educational help, suffering at every turn, and gladly still do anything to make sure the child is raised properly. And does it matter? No.
Isn't it funny that they turn to Raven for salvation?
He then starts listing off members of the 27 Club, which I thought was weird. Yeah. He's like Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison. All these couldn't deliver the children. It's like, I guess he's trying to say like he's the voice of a generation like they were, but like they weren't trying to start cults. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, didn't Jim Morrison just like drown?
I think it was still drug related. I gotta look that up.
Oh, one of those people drowned. Just like, who's the lead? Yeah, he was the lead singer of The Doors. Didn't he drown? Yeah. He just like went out for a swim in a river, drowned.
I don't recommend. That's why I say don't recommend swimming in rivers.
I don't recommend swimming at night. Can't see none. Yeah. So he says that the mind controls the kid.
He was found dead in a bathtub. So not exactly a swim.
Who is the one I was thinking of then? Someone drowned. Who's the famous one? Oh, Jeff Buckley. I'm thinking of Jeff Buckley.
Oh, okay. I thought you were thinking of The Great Gatsby.
No, he got shot.
Into a swimming pool.
Still got shot. Says the mind that controls the kids is the mind that holds the future, and Raven is their salvation.
And this is the ultimate jump scare. You all of a sudden Tyler is directly in front of the camera with a little leather jacket on, like it's from Baby Gap. It's so cute. And he does the T-pose, and he says, quote, the Raven, nevermore. And he just stays in T-pose for the rest of the
Fortnite.
promo.
This is just Fortnite at this point.
He's just going to do the Fortnite dance after.
Bro.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure that little kid killed me once in Fortnite and also did the T-pose there.
And
like
teabagged.
Yeah.
He says, I control the children, or at least Sandman's. It's actually a pretty cold line.
Yeah, that's a bar. I can't even lie to you.
That's an absolute bar. I think everyone should watch the promo because of the jump scare of Tyler. I think everyone should experience this. It's Raven lulls you into this, like you're following along, and he's a very captivating promo, obviously. And then all of a sudden, just child T-posing. It is unsettling.
He's a hell of a promo. Really, truly an incredible promo.
Hard to pick just one promo. The thing this leads to is a moment that I'm sure you've heard of. Do you know what this angle leads to?
No.
It's one of the most infamous things to happen in ECW. At High Incident on October 26, 96, Raven and the Raven's Nest crucified the Sandman.
Oh, yeah, that one I did hear. Okay.
Yeah, they tied him to a cross, placed a crown made of barbed wire on his head. The angle, which essentially made Kurt Angle say, absolutely not, I'm not going to ECW. Raven had to come to the ring after and offer what Wikipedia calls somewhat insincere apology for his actions.
Sure.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we get back, 2 more Raven matches. Back from the break, October 5th, 96, at a show called Ultimate Jeopardy, Raven was scheduled to team with Brian Lee against Dreamer and Sandman in a match with Raven's ECW title on the line. Raven was unable to compete, so Stevie Richards stepped in for him, and the Sandman pinned Stevie Richards, costing Raven the title without ever being pinned. Raven blamed Richards for the loss after that. Raven defeated Sandman in a barbed wire match at Holiday Hell to get the title back, a match we've covered on our Sandman episode. Go and listen to our episode about the Sandman. Raven and Richards continued to have tension, and then on December 28th, 1996, Richard turned on Raven by Stevie kicking him during a match with the Sandman, and eventually Richards, the Blue Meanie, and Supernova became their own thing and would eventually form the BWO.
Amazing
No
notes.
Stuff. Let's look at our next match, which is from ECW Barely Legal 1997, the first ever ECW pay-per-view. This is Raven defending his ECW World Heavyweight Championship against Terry Funk.
I would like to point out that I'm still not alive.
Jesus Christ, you're not. Oh my God. The clip starts with the end of the previous match, where Sandman is getting super kicked by Stevie Richards with a steel garbage can in his head. Funk then hits a moonsault and pins him. This was a 3-way dance to determine who would face Raven in the main event that was happening literally the next match.
Yeah, this was so poorly planned by all parties involved, except for Raven.
Raven is always a step ahead. He's a smart cookie. I love when
how much booking power he had at this point.
I love when heels are smart.
Apparently it was a brutal match, but Terry Funk wins the match.
It is a brutal match. It's actually a very entertaining match to watch. I have gone back and watched it before. Raven comes out fresh as a daisy. Yeah, the bell rings and Funk is not even up. He's just on the floor.
Raven does a drop toe hold onto a chair.
It's a good bit.
I like that. That's actually a pretty good spot. He blasts Terry Funk with the chair, and Funk is gushing blood.
This is the bloodiest person we see all episode.
Yeah.
Funk is so bloody. Raven is stomping him out. A doctor comes to look at the cut on Funk, and Funk's telling him, like, fuck off. I got this.
Yeah. Mind you, Terry Funk is 53 years old.
Did you math this? Did you figure out how old he was?
No, they said it on commentary.
Oh, okay.
Like multiple times.
He's doing the like swinging wildly thing. He's hitting nothing but air. Raven sets up a table at ringside. It knocks over. And Raven just body slams the table onto Funk.
I love a table suplex.
Funk is laid on the table. Raven dives over the top rope, puts Funker through the table. This whole time, by the way, Tommy Dreamer is on commentary with Joey Styles and keeps interrupting him.
Yeah, and I have never hated Tommy Dreamer more, which is saying something because I'm not even really a fan of Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, man, you're missing out. I love Tommy Dreamer. The flock is here as Raven clocks the doctor who tries to check on Funk. And the flock is here to support Raven, including a debuting Joshi wrestler who powerbombs Funk in the ring, Reggie Bennett.
That was a Joshi?
That was a Joshi, but they're dressed in
just a big man.
They're dressed in like grunge gear, so you can't really tell what she looks like. But yeah, that's Reggie Bennett.
Is taller than, like, bigger than Raven.
She was in All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling from 93 to 96. Literally showed up for this in ECW, and that's it. Joined RC on a villainous faction of American wrestlers in November of 97, and then had her retirement match March 4th against Manami Toyota.
All right, well, we're booking her.
Put that in there. I'm intrigued. Color me intrigued.
They attack Funk. Raven hops on the mic and starts taunting Dreamer.
Because he just can't help himself. It's his favorite thing to do.
It's like Christian Cage when he finds out that someone has a dead father. Like, he just can't help himself.
How bricked up is Christian when he drives by an orphanage? Like...
It needs to be clipped
How?
as well, because what a terrible choice of wording.
Yeah.
Bricked up, going by an
he's like
orphanage.
so many dead dads. I'm gonna be their dad.
All right, do you understand my concern with that statement?
I sure
Does not
do.
involve the parents.
I know.
Anyways, Big Dick Dudley attacks Dreamer. He ends up getting tossed actually off the nest or the announcing, whatever that is called. He ends up getting tossed off of that through a bunch of tables below. Big Dick Dudley is the funniest wrestler of all time. Like, it just has to be said. He is. There's not much that I know about ECW. There's not much that I've seen of ECW. I know a fair bit, but of the actual wrestlers that competed there. Big Dick Dudley is the only one I've done a decent amount of research on, because it's a fever dream. His entire run in ECW is a fever dream.
I feel like we need to do Balls Mahoney too, just so you can experience. You have Big Dick and you also get Balls Mahoney. I think you need the combo package there.
That's little dick and balls.
Little dick and balls. Dreamer makes it to the ring, does the DT off the rope. Funk with a cover. He only gets a 2 count. Then we get an inside cradle by Terry Funk, who pins Raven 1, 2, 3 to win the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. All of these interactions.
The fact that there's 2 falls in that is insane.
Yes. All these interactions lead to our final match on part 1 of Raven. WrestlePalooza 1997. It's Raven versus Dreamer. Loser leaves ECW. This is June 6th, 1997. Dreamer, of course, has never pinned Raven one-on-one in their 3-year-long feud.
My problem, right, is that they say that the feud started over Beulah, but that doesn't make any sense, because she was Raven's girlfriend from camp who got rejected by Dreamer. There's no reason for Dreamer to have bad blood. None.
No, there's reason for Raven to be mad at Dreamer. But if, again, like I said, if somebody hates me, I hate them back. Like,
do you hate that random guy?
I haven't thought about it until we were talking about it, really.
There you go.
Really about it.
There you go.
But I'm also not a hateful guy.
Maybe
Tommy Dreamer's a really spiteful guy, you know? Maybe he's mad.
Of course he is. He's from like Yonkers or some shit. I don't know where he's actually from.
Yonkers is underrated as a funny place name.
It's, first off, it's not at all underrated. It's also got 2 great grade A haters with Tommy Dreamer and Eddie Kingston.
What are the funniest place names in the United States? You got to go with, like, Yonkers is up there. Walla Walla.
There's some good ones in Massachusetts.
There's a place called Dildo on the east coast of Canada.
Listen, man, there's just a thing for everything. There's that one place, and I don't even remember where it is. I think it's in Wyoming or something. That's like 50 letters long and just is complete nonsense.
There's Climax in Oregon, I'm pretty sure. It's a lot of good ones. This has had a lot of innuendo in this episode. I blame Big Dick Dudley.
Well, there's some "you sold out" chants for Raven. We all know why.
People knew what was going on.
We'll talk about that next week.
Beulah's back for this match and is here with Dreamer, which seems wrong that she would end up with Dreamer in the end. But, I mean,
considering they've been married for like 20 plus years.
I mean, in terms of the wrestling, if he denied her when she was a child, I don't know.
All right, but people deny people and then they get back together and all this other stuff. You know the deal.
You know how it goes.
Sometimes people just have to separate in order to glow. I don't know how that works.
Raven has a new flock. He has Chastity as his manager now, and someone named Lupus.
Lupus.
I didn't name him. Lupus gets in the ring, tells Raven to leave, and he'll take care of Dreamer for him. Dreamer just tells him to fuck off and just goes and chases down Raven when he leaves.
Oh, I love this. Dreamer grabs him, drags him back, then beats on him with every item he can find from the crowd.
Yeah, they're brawling. He runs into a garage door. He gets a drink and spits in Raven's face. Tosses Dreamer through the merch table off the back of the stands, which makes me realize how unsafe the stands were in the ECW arena.
Listen, man, you got to think. you're already probably going to need to get a tetanus shot before you go because there's 100% rust there. So why not just be as unsafe as humanly possible?
Raven drops a table on Tommy. He loves the table suplex. Tommy goes through the table as well. The franchise and Francine are above them, and Shane Douglas just is like doing the towel cool down to Raven. They're just hanging out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you weren't booked,
I'm sure he was booked, just not yet or not till later, you know?
just chill.
Just
Cool
hang
it.
out. Yeah. Watch the match. See what's going on. Have a laugh.
Raven tosses Dreamer through a table. They take turns whipping each other into the guardrail. They're just trading just trading turns with that one. Raven does a rocket launcher to Dreamer through a chair, and Dreamer fucking destroyed the chair.
Yes. It just evaporated.
The chair, like, I've never seen that before. I have never seen a chair as crumpled and mangled as that chair was after Tommy Dreamer went through it.
By the way, I'm sure you're curious. Shane Douglas was booked for 2 matches later. He would lose the ECW TV title in under 3 minutes to Taz.
Yeah, that tracks.
So here's the weird thing. Raven versus Dreamer is a 3-year-long feud with a loser leaves town match. It's the 5th match on an 8-match card.
I don't like that.
The main event, don't get me wrong, the main event sounds good. It's the Eliminators beating the Dudley Boys for the tag titles.
I don't like it.
But the structuring is weird. Also, Shane Douglas had a match to start the show, too. He defeated Chris Chetty. I think maybe they filmed some stuff after the main. I think this is the main event, and they filmed stuff after.
I couldn't tell you.
So, like how the one main event at WrestleMania 36 was actually Drew versus Big Show. How that technically is a real main event at WrestleMania.
Yes, I guess you could say that. Dreamer counters, I believe it's a hip toss into a DDT. He grabs a sign, accidentally hits the ref because Raven kind of helps him run into the ref. Yeah. Then he hits Raven with it, tears it apart, does a pile driver onto said sign for a near fall. When I guess Lupus, I thought his name was Lucas. Lupus comes back in.
That'd be too normal of a name to hang out with Raven. You can't be named Lucas and hang out with Raven.
Lupus breaks up the pin. Beulah comes in and hits a DDT on Lupus.
Yep.
Raven tries getting back at Beulah, or getting her back. Like, he goes to his knees and he's like
bagging her.
Bagging. And she low blows him.
Raven is acting out the bridge of "Fuck You" by CeeLo Green. He's just, why? He's just screaming at Beulah.
Why?
Baby.
Dreamer hits a DDT for a near fall. We get a ref bump. Then Louis Spicoli comes out.
Oh, before that, Chastity gets in the ring and sprays Tommy in the eyes with hairspray. Dreamer kicks out too. Beulah and Chastity have their little fight. Raven pulls Beulah off of her. Then, Louis Spicoli is here to DDT Dreamer. And Raven with the pin, but still just a 2 count. Dreamer DDTs Spicoli. Raven DDTs Dreamer, still only a 2 count.
Yeah. Dreamer hits a Death Valley driver to Raven, which is apparently Louis Spicoli's finisher.
Spicoli's move, yeah.
A DDT to Raven, but and 1, 2, 3, Tommy Dreamer beats Raven.
But it's because he had the special power. Because when he had Raven in the DDT position, he yells EC fucking W and then hits the DDT. It's like he went Super Saiyan for a moment with the Spirit of Philadelphia and DDT'd him and finally gets his one-on-one pin over Raven. What did you think looking at the ECW/WCW portion of Scott Levy?
We're technically not done because the lights go out. They come back. It's RVD. He attacks Dreamer. Dreamer gets the advantage. Lights go out. Lights come back on. Sabu throws a chair at Dreamer. They triple team. They pretty much triple team. Raven's there for a little bit, and then he fucks off.
Yeah, he just leaves.
Lights go out. Come back on. Jerry the King Lawler is here. And then it's King, RVD, Sabu, and Bill Alfonso's there with a whistle. And they're just clearing the ring of anyone that comes out. Sandman's here. He has a cane. He's got beer. they just beat his ass. And then finally Taz comes out and they decide to leave.
Yeah. Weird times in ECW. But what did you think looking at Raven's ECW career?
That was fun. I had a great time.
It's a great time.
I had a great time with these matches. It was really good. The character was great. The promo was great. The matches were great. You really get to see the whole thing because he starts off with just this random feud with Dreamer, and that goes off to become this 3-year odyssey of hatred. He's a tag team with Stevie Richards, which obviously I give my gold star to that one because I love Stevie Richards so much. He's a tag champ. He becomes the ECW heavyweight champion, which is awesome. He has these feuds with all these different people, but at the end of the day, it's all about Dreamer, and he ends his run with a blood feud match to go away against Dreamer, where he finally freaking loses to the guy. He hit every single note while he was in ECW. It's perfect. It's everything that the first WCW run was not.
If you know and are invested in the ECW Tommy Dreamer Raven story, then the recommendation this week is the final Loser Leaves Town match. If you're not as invested, the fucking match against the Pitbulls is the recommendation because it's
both are equally chaotic.
Oh, but the Pitbulls match is so much more chaotic. I think the
Pitbulls match is just like an extra level of mayhem that I really appreciate.
It is an extra level of mayhem. I love Raven, and I'm excited because next week, obviously, it's going to be Raven Part 2. That's why there's a Part 1 in the title of this episode. We're looking at WCW, we're looking at WWF, but not that WrestleMania X8 hardcore match because we already covered it in our Big Show episodes. Go and listen to our episodes about the Big Show. But also TNA, where he will go from having a flock to a nest to a whatever. He always has bird names for the people who hang out with him. It's kind of weird.
Well, it's because his name is Raven.
No, really? All right. Wherever you are listening, be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. We appreciate all the different support we've been getting on the road to WrestleMania. Follow us on social media. Follow Javier wherever he tells you right now.
I'm at the Twitter machine, at JMelloSports.
Follow him. Do it. Do it.
Sauce the boy a follow.
Follow me as well, at @7gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Follow the podcast, most importantly, on Twitter and Instagram, at Crossbody of Work. Go to our YouTube for all the good content. All the different links for the matches this week are going to be in the YouTube description as well as in the podcast description, wherever you're getting your podcast. Same with our link for our new merch that just dropped. Check that out in the podcast description as well. Go and watch our other YouTube videos. We just did a Crossbody Corrections this week, like I said, where we tried to rebook Nexus to not be terrible. We'll have more of our other games that we put on there, trying to get some more wrestling interviews going. We're going to have lots of WrestleMania content, so go and see it all on YouTube. All right, next week, Raven Part 2. We already knew that. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier. Hey, everyone, especially those who live in America, check to make sure that your social security numbers are correct on your W-2s. Because if not, you're in for a long, annoying, arduous process involving your HR at your job. And it messes up everything, especially if you have a retirement account that you didn't realize was actually to a social security number that's not yours. This isn't a personal anecdote or anything like that.
This wasn't your day to day.
I didn't spend like damn near 2 hours on the phone trying to get something figured out earlier today. I absolutely did not do that. No. But anyways, check that. It's a very niche thing. But it will save you 2 hours of a phone call in the future that you don't want to do.
This also ties into just a good suggestion, which is tax season is coming soon. Just start planning for it now. Just find all the shit now, so you're not scrambling for it. Just go do it soon.
Do it.
Get on top of it. It's annoying. The government should just tell us how much taxes we owe instead of us having to do random math or pay smarter people to do random math. But it's fine. Just go find it when you can. Double check all your social security number stuff, things like that. Because like Javier said, it's not like it's coming from personal experience or anything.
No.
But it's a terrible time. All right. Let us know in the comments what you want us to see, what guys you want to see on the road to Philadelphia as we're covering all these ECW wrestlers. We're back next week, Raven Part 2. We'll talk to you then.
Later.